Isaac. Today's topic is speaking about transition and coming out socially and safely in a social setting. So, speaking from personal experience as far as coming out trans in a social setting, I was fortunate enough that a lot of my friends are a part of the same scene. What I mean by they're a part of the same scene is that I got into drag before coming to terms with my status of being trans. And it was harder for me to come out as trans than others. I think others now that are a little bit younger are more familiar with terminology and options, I should say, as far as all this goes earlier in life than someone that was born in the 80s like myself. I always just identified as a butch lesbian, a stud, before I knew that trans male was even a thing. I didn't even know that trans men were a thing until Chaz came out. And back then I was like 24, 25, dating an ex that I was pretty much settled down with. We still have contact with each other, and when she found out that I was trans after our breakup, she was like, surprised you didn't notice sooner. But she's also younger than me, so like I said, people younger are more familiar with options and all the new terminology. Someone being a little bit older, I didn't know it was an option back then. So when we split, I got into doing drag, and I was a drag king, and I started back Pride month of 2013. So I pretty much stopped performing. I'll still do it every once in a while, but for me, drag isn't the same as it was back then because this doesn't come off anymore. This is my actual beard, you know. If it's not makeup, I don't quite see it as drag. I know some people do, but if I was to do drag, I would have to like costume or something, you know. But I was one of the first kings here in Houston, so it was like a learning experience. We're all learning together when we first started out. But like I said, I'm fortunate enough that I had friends in the same social setting, so most of the trans guys that I know that are local were drag kings, or still are drag kings, or male impersonators. So, I should say. We've all been transitioning roughly about the same amount of time, give or take like a year on everyone's part. But I have that support system of fellow trans men and drag queens. And drag queens, some of them are trans, some of them aren't. So I'm fortunate enough that I have friends that know what I'm going through, or that are open-minded enough to accept it. Now, not everybody's accepting, and I won't lie to you and say that it was all roses and sunshine, because it wasn't. You know, I have some of those friends that couldn't accept it, and I just lost those friendships. And to me, I didn't take that as a loss. To me, if you couldn't deal with it, then you were never my friend to begin with, because I didn't change as far as my personality goes. The metaphor I have for people who don't get it and just can't grasp their mind around it is building a car. I say you buy a car and it's not what you want, but it runs well and it functions well, but you want it to look a different way, and you go and paint it, and you make it spiffy. You fix it up the way you want to, make it look the way you want to. You put the rims on it that you want to. That car still has the same engine in it. That car probably still has the same interior in it. So under that paint and those wheels and sound system or whatever you put into it, it's still the same car. So that's pretty much how I give people metaphors on myself. I'm just making myself look the way I've always wanted to look, and making myself look more male because I've always been male. Known since I was little. It just took a long time to come to terms with it again because of my family. You know, I grew up in a really religious family. I come from a really religious background. I was always a tomboy. Always had guy best friends. I grew up with two guys. One was a year older than me, the other one was 2 years older than me, and it was just always us. You know, I didn't think about it like this back then when I was a kid, but I didn't like to wear a shirt. And I didn't understand why I had to wear a shirt. It was like when I was like 9 or 10, my mom started making me wear t-shirts because puberty, you know. But I used to like just being shirtless. and slicking my hair back and not wanting to wear a shirt. And the reason the slick back hair thing was because I used to like Elvis when I was a kid. So I used to like slick my hair back and do like a little curl and be shirtless. I didn't care. And I had a leather jacket. So, I mean, I've always known since back then, and I'm a little bit of a big kid right now because, I got a mess on my table, excuse that, but that's because of classes, but I have like Iron Man back there and toys around the house, and that's because growing up I didn't get to have the guy toys that I wanted as a kid. I didn't get to have the White Ranger and the Green Ranger like I wanted growing up, you know. Transformers, I didn't get to have those. My mom was always like, you gotta wear a dress, you gotta wear your hair and bows, you gotta wear braids or pigtails, and I used to have hair down to like my butt, but chopped it off, you know, and started turning more butch in high school. And I got called a boy and sir and all that in high school, and that was fine. But my mom would throw a fit about it because she was a teacher in the district. So I couldn't get away with a lot, which is why I'm telling you, it was just a stricter background coming up. But again, like I'm saying, socially and safely, I would say just make sure you have friends you could trust so that you could come out safely. Be sure that if you're in an area and you might be unsafe, stay in a group. It's always safer to stay in groups than by yourself because you never know what's going to happen. It's not always safe in the gay areas either. So, and numbers is all I can say about that. But come out to the people you trust, and if they can't accept you, then just go ahead and let it go. And I honestly cleared out so many of my Facebook friends and all that when I came to terms with transition. And I came out as trans on Facebook. So that pretty much filtered out people from the get-go for me. But anyone that couldn't accept it, anyone that says they'll never call me what my name legally is now, I've just done away with them, and sometimes friendships come to an end and it's for the best. So, alright guys, I hope this video helped y'all out, and I'll see y'all next week.